Chapter 1. Lost in a Cave. Within all of this darkness that clouded my thoughts, I continued to blog my adventures in my head because it became very difficult to write in my notebook. I had talked a lot in my head because my mum always told me people who talk to themselves out loud look crazy and weird, and the last thing I needed was to be a bigger outcast than I already am. It was more like an internal battle. I was thrown into this cave by the local natives, a barbaric bunch of uncivilized men, their teeth yellow and dirty, with their faces smeared in war paint, and were dressed in rags and leaves. I initially tried to avoid them by hiding among the leaves and observing their primal ways. The language was nothing I had ever heard before, not of English, but of grunts and moans while pushing each other in the chest to show dominance. I logged in my notebook so I could report what I had seen to the other archaeologists back home in order to better understand this foreign country and their people. I was almost done with my report when one of the natives crept up behind me and found me in the bushes. The native grunted while pushing me in the chest. I attempted to respond, but my fear of the overgrown Neanderthal prevented me from speaking a word. He repeated again. This time he pushed me into the bushes, which caused me to drop my notebook as I fell to the ground. He picked it up and started grunting more while calling over the attention of other members of his tribe, all in similar garments. They approached quickly, and before I knew it, the entire clan was surrounding me, all grunting loudly, looking and passing around my notebook, until one of them threw it into a mud-infested puddle. "No! My work! I need that!" I yelled, standing to my feet, then racing toward my ruined notebook. I picked it up off the ground and wiped it with my sleeve, trying to keep it intact, especially in this tropical rainy weather. While attempting to clean off my life's work, the aggressive natives grabbed me and placed me over their heads, even grunting and moaning some more. They carried me into their temple, full of symbols and monuments that depicts their tribe. I tried to squirm away, but their grasp was just too strong. They took me to the middle of their temple and threw me into their cave and placed a rock in front of it so I couldn't get out. In vain I began to yell and scream for them to set me free, but no one could hear my calls of distress. I began to walk endlessly through the dark terrain, wondering how I would escape this narrow tunnel. While feeling around the dark corridor, I began to lose hope, until I found an ancient staff. It felt rough and coarse, which led me to believe it must have been very old. I then went to the giant rock and tried to pry it open with the mystical staff, but my attempts were futile as it did not move the extremely heavy boulder. Suddenly I heard the natives hitting their gong, which made a loud noise throughout the temple. The thought that ran through me was that they were planning on using me for some type of sacrifice, which is very common in ancient traditions. Is this the end? I thought to myself as the gong rang again. "Come on, mystical staff, save me, bring me to safety," I called out while violently hitting the blunt-feeling rod against the thick rock again and again. "Ernest? Ernest? Is that you in there?" I heard a familiar voice call out through the rock. Could it be that this mystical staff summoned a rescuer to come and save me from my fate? "Ernest, didn't you hear the bell ring? You're going to be late for class. And how did you get trapped in the closet?" asked my friend Tyler. Yes, I heard the bell. The football players locked me in here," I responded, depressed as he opened the closet door to see me holding an old janitor's mop. "Man, this is the third time this week those guys have locked you in something. On Monday it was the lockers, and yesterday it was the girls' locker room," Tyler answered while helping me dust the dirt off my clothes. "Yeah, now all the girls call me Ernest the Creeper," I interrupted unhappily. "Yes, I saw the webpage," Tyler said, trying not to laugh. "Now you're in the closet, when are you going to stand up for yourself, buddy?" "Those guys are so big, and look at me, I'm tiny. Reality just sucks for me. I just have to wait out the rest of 7th grade, then 8th, then avoid them in high school, and hopefully none of them will make it to college. And I'll be fine. Right?" I said, trying to convince myself. "That's kind of sad. But okay, did you finish your essay?" Tyler asked as we began walking to class. "Almost, before those giant meatheads threw me in the mud outside. Now look at it," I said, upset, while showing him the mud-soaked paper. "Ouch. You know Ms. Kim hates late work," Good luck, buddy, Tyler said while patting my back with his hand. Maybe I should just skip, I suggested. Ernest Ebersman, miss the class? Yeah, right, Tyler said, laughing. Just give me a second. I really dislike this class, I said, seeming unmotivated to enter the classroom. Everybody does. Well, I'll see you inside, he said before entering the classroom and closing the door behind him. I took a deep breath before entering the evil witch's castle. It was dark and stormy as I looked outside her castle walls and watching rain pour down against the dark brick while lightning and thunder filled the sky. I could hear her from inside her chambers laughing evilly and taunting the children trapped inside. I was the only one that could save them. I glanced into her dungeon through the glass window and saw all the kids tied up with magical apples in their mouths to keep them dazed and under her spell. I had lost all of my weapons in the caves, but I summoned my courage to save these kids and bring them back home to safety. The witch was green with a long nose and warts all over her face. Her hair was a pile of soul-sucking snakes that hiss after every motion. She was hideous as her tiny eyes were deadly. In one glance, she could eat a kid's soul, and the only thing I had for protection was an ancient artifact given to me by the wise woman in the Golden Palace. I pulled it out of my sack and began to plan my siege into this wicked woman's chambers before her doors suddenly swung open. "Yelp!" I screeched in a high-pitched voice. "Your soul will be mine. Of all the children, I will eat your soul first," the witch yelled out in an evil, deep voice while attempting to remove my soul with her eyes. "No!" I screamed while placing the ancient golden artifact in front of her, and I ran away. I ran to the corner of the castle, breathing heavily as I could hear her footsteps creep up behind me. Every slow step caused a drip of sweat to slide down my forehead and pass down to my face. I began to pray that this would not be the end, and suddenly she grabbed me from the corner with her thin, long, coarse hands and began her evil laugh as I began screaming and closing my eyes, repeatedly saying, "No, don't do it! Don't do it!" "Ernest! Ernest!" I heard Miss Kim yelling out. "Open your eyes, young man!" I opened them slowly to see Miss Kim standing in front of me with a stern look on her face while holding my lunchbox. "You are late for class. And why are you screaming? Why did you leave your lunchbox in front of the classroom?" she said, upset, with a strong Oriental accent. "My mum baked you some cookies," I stuttered with a crooked smile. "And you startled me when you came rushing out from the classroom." "I don't want cookies. I want you in class, on time," she responded sternly. "Where is your essay? It is due today, young man." I showed her the dirty notebook as she began to shake her head in disbelief. "I'm sorry, Miss Kim. The boys from the football team—" "I don't want to hear any more excuses from you. Now you have Saturday school. Get in class this instant," she said, stomping her foot on the ground, and muttered in her native language of China. "Yes, Miss Kim," I said quickly, and rushed inside her classroom and sat next to Tyler, who was on his chair giggling. Man, can this day get any worse? I asked myself while putting my head down onto the desk. "Hey, can I get one of those cookies your mum made?" Tyler asked, putting his hand out. "Silence!" hollered the teacher, while slamming her ruler against her desk, which made every student sit up straight in their seats to pay attention to her.